Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Angela, and if you're new to my channel, welcome. I previously worked as an investment banking analyst in New York, and now I am working in a corporate development role at a tech firm. So before I entered investment banking, financial modeling was always this scary mystery to me.
Oh no. Oh no.
I'd watch full-time analysts glide their fingers across the keyboard at lightning speeds. They were Excel ninjas, and I had no idea what in the world they were building on Excel. For today's video, I've decided to put together a list of every financial model that I've actually come across during my role working in investment banking, and I decided to rank them from simplest to most difficult. And I ranked these based on a number of factors: one, time needed to complete it; two, granularity or how detailed the model has to be; and three, depth in accounting or Excel knowledge needed for the model. Before I begin, I do want to note that for every model, there are different complexities involved depending on the deal and the people that you're working with. All these rankings are going to be on my own personal experience from what I've seen. And before I continue with the rest of the video, I noticed that a whopping 93% of you are watching my videos but not subscribed to my channel. So to the 7% who are subscribed, thank you. And if you aren't subscribed, please hit that red subscribe button because it helps me a lot and I will appreciate you so much. Now let's get straight to the rankings. So coming up on the easiest model to build, and this isn't really even considered a model, it's more of a template, and that is a trading comps template. The purpose of a trading comps template is to value a company based off of financial metrics. And the first step in putting together this template is to actually have the comps or the comparable companies. And in the case of investment banking, generally, there's already going to be a set of comps that your managing director or some senior banker already has in mind. Next, the banker will use resources like FactSet or CapIQ to pull these numbers from, and then they will then fact check that with the 10K or 10Q to make sure that the numbers are accurate. Typically, for trading comps, there's always a template already in place, so it isn't too difficult to put together. You're just plugging in the correct numbers. Second analysis, sum of the parts. Now, sum of the parts analysis can be a little bit more difficult, but from what I've seen, one of the easiest ways to calculate it is to base it off of a comps template. So what a sum of the parts valuation means is that, let's say you have company A that has 3 different divisions that are all really different. Let's say this company has a healthcare division, they have an aviation division, and they have a power division. As a result, you're going to want to value each part of this company differently. So in order to put together some of the parts, you would look at healthcare comparables for the healthcare division, look at the range of EV over EBITDA or whatever relative valuation multiple you're going to use for the comparables, and then use the EBITDA of that specific division of the company to get to a range for the enterprise value for that division. You do that for each division of the company, add it all up together, and you end up getting to an overall enterprise value. It's a relatively easy concept to understand. You don't really need to know any kind of Excel or accounting skills. Number 3, a simple operating model. Now, operating models can get incredibly difficult and complex. It's essentially just the 3 statements: income sheet, balance sheet, and cash flow statement, and they are all linked together within the Excel. You have to know some basic accounting in terms of what links into where, but overall it isn't too difficult to put together this operating model because there's so many resources to help you do so. Example of what a relatively basic one would look like. This is an Excel template that I got through Financial Edge through their The Modeler course, and it's really great practice because they have an empty sheet that I'm using here as well as a filled out sheet to practice on. But they're super great if you want to refresh your modeling skills and learn a lot more. They basically cover every model that I'm going to talk about in this video as well, and they also train full-time hires from the top 4 investment banks, so you're essentially getting the same training. If you're interested in any of the courses, they were kind enough to give my viewers a 25% off coupon using Angela25, so you can use that, and I'll put a link in the description box below for those who are interested. Next, the discounted cash flow model. For DCF, typically the entire analysis can probably fit on one tab. There aren't too many steps involved in a DCF as well. And beyond that, you also don't need a super comprehensive 3-statement operating model to feed into a DCF because there aren't too many inputs. Number 5 is a back of the envelope accretion dilution analysis. So accretion dilution refers to the simple test that determines the impact of an acquisition on the buying firm's earnings per share. So an accretive acquisition is where the pro forma earnings per share is greater than the acquirer's earnings per share before the deal is made, which is the optimal solution. When it comes to building out a back of the envelope ACK deal, it's not really about accuracy, it's simply to see if the deal will be accretive or dilutive. There aren't too many inputs involved as well, not considering aspects like goodwill or synergies that you would typically do in a full merger model. Number 6, a quick and dirty LBO, or leverage buyout model. The quick and dirty model involves using pretty basic assumptions. It should overall take less than an hour to build out, and people have even done paper LBOs, just using their hands and a piece of paper and doing one under 5 minutes. Number 7 is an IPO model. And when it comes to IPOs, a lot of typical valuation methodologies like comparables and DCFs are used, but there is also an IPO model that will be used as well. The point of this model is to determine how much capital to raise, determine the valuation, which is going to be based off of the DCF and the comparables I just mentioned. It isn't too difficult of a concept of a model, and generally investment banks will always have templates ready to go for IPO models to plug and play. You don't need to know a ton of prior accounting knowledge or Excel knowledge for this. Number 8 is a fully integrated merger model. You can use a template for a merger model and plug in a few things, but in a lot of the times deals will have a lot more complexities that a template might not be able to already have, and so you'll have to build it out yourself. Creating a fully integrated merger model includes things like making acquisition assumptions, making projections, valuing each business involved, combining the two businesses and making a pro forma adjustments, and then finally looking at the accretion dilution of the deal. And lastly, what I deem the most difficult and complex, and this is a model that you'll typically mostly use in private equity but also use in investment banking at times as well, is the leverage buyout model. The point of the LBO is to evaluate the transaction by calculating the internal rate of return, or IRR, in order to figure out whether it's a good deal or not. It has circular references, requires cash flow waterfalls, and so you can typically expect to even build out a simple full leverage buyout model to take at least a couple of hours, and for more difficult ones, they can take days. Beyond that, like I said, the level of complexity differs a lot for each model. It depends on what you're trying to do. Some deals are just a lot more complex than others. For example, I've seen mergers where it's two companies spinning off a division and then merging together, whereas other times the bank is simply trying to pitch an idea and they don't need a super complex model. They just want to get to a point and come up with an approximate number, in which case you can do something like a quick and dirty accretion dilution or a back of the pocket LBO. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. That ratio of 93% to 7% is not good, and I really want to decrease that 93%. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!